there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. My name is Allison.
And I'm Tori, and this is Library List.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. Today we are here to do our mid-year book freakout tag.
I am trying to read 100 books this year, and I'm trying to read 20 nonfiction. I have read 59 books this year and 8 nonfictions.
My reading's not going so great. I also want to try to read 100 books this year. I am at 31. I'm a grad student, and I don't really get a lot of time to listen to audiobooks, so I guess let's go on ahead and let's get started with the tag. Question number 1. What is the best book that you've read so far this year?
So this one is super easy. I read This Is How You Lose the Time War. This book, I checked it out from the library and physically read it, and then I immediately checked out the audiobook and listened to it, and then I had to buy it. I adored this book. I love sci-fi. I don't get to read nearly enough of sci-fi, and I really want to start reading more, and this was a great one.
Alright. I actually don't have the book that I wanted to talk about for this answer, but I wanted to mention The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This was, I think, the first 5-star book that I read this year, and I read it in like February, March. I love Erin Morgenstern. I really loved The Night Circus, and I think I actually liked The Starless Sea better. It's just got beautiful writing, it's very whimsical, it's very lyrical, and it's this kind of quest through, you know, different dimensions, and there's a love story, but it's also kind of in modern day. It's wonderful. Also, our main character is a grad student, relatable content over here, so I just really loved that book. It was wonderful. Alright, question number 2 is the best sequel that you have read so far this year.
For this one, I am going with Heartforger. It is the second book to the Bone Witch series. I really liked this first book, but Heartforger I really liked a lot more. I got more of the characters I really liked, and the world building had kind of already been done in the first book, and we were more just fleshing out the magic system and like some intricacies of the world, and it really got the plot going. I thought it was a really, really, really strong second book.
My answer for this question is actually kind of silly. A lot of you I think are gonna laugh. But I'm gonna go with Frostbite, which is the second book in the Vampire Academy series. I never read them, so I'm reading them now because we've been stuck in our apartment for 4 months. I'm in the middle of book 3 right now, but there's a lot of like, I love you, but we can never be together, which I don't do, but I'm trying to convince myself to push past it because I really want to finish the series because I want to read Bloodlines. Number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet, but you want to read.
So for this one, I am going with Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I read With the Fire on High earlier this year, and I really, really loved it. And I know Clap When You Land is kind of a return to form. She's doing more poetry like she did with Poet X. The premise for Clap When You Land sounds really interesting, and I'm really excited to get my hands on it.
Another one that we are both really excited to read is also poetry, and that is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. We picked this up for reading during Queer Blackathon, and then neither of us got to it because we're both horrible people. But this is so pretty. Y'all, look at this book without the dust jacket. It's so pretty. We're both really excited to get to this one. This one is about kind of growing up queer and finding yourself, and I know that this author also talks about like finding drag, which is really cool, and like using that as a form of self-expression. So we're both really excited for this one too. Another one that I'm excited for is actually a booktuber's book here on BookTube, and that is Katie Wismer, or Kate's Book Date. I'll leave her channel down below if you're interested. But she actually just came out with her latest book, which is a novel, and that is The Anti-Virginity Pact, which sounds really cool, and I'm really interested to read that. And then lastly, another one we're both really excited about is Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. It's got a beautiful cover. I've heard nothing but glowing reviews for it. I'm so excited. I know we're both really excited. Question 4 is our most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I think we're both excited about both of these books, but we each just picked one to talk about.
Yeah. So I am going with Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. I read Wilder Girls at the beginning of this year, and I really love the writing style. And Burn Our Bodies Down just sounds so good. It's queer, but there's no romance, which is really interesting, and I'm really excited for that. And just everything I've heard about it sounds good. The cover's gorgeous.
Yes.
Very excited.
The one I'm going with is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Love V.E. Schwab. I've read almost everything she's ever written. She's got some of my favorite series that I've ever read, and I cannot wait to dive into this new world and this new character. Number 5 is Time to Get Spicy. What was your biggest disappointment so far this year?
So for this one, I'm going with We Set the Dark on Fire. I had such high expectations for this book. It had such a cool premise. It was like a little bit of fantasy, but mostly like a kind of spy rebel type story. It was female-female romance. It should have been perfect, but I hated it. It just felt like nothing was developed. It felt like we skipped huge pieces of the plot, but they just didn't happen. It was just all of a sudden the stakes were really high for no apparent reason. All of a sudden the two characters were in love and it didn't make any sense. Like, I just wanted so much more from it.
I felt the same way about The Love Interest by Cale Dietrich. I've been looking forward to reading this since it came out. It's kind of the same idea. It's a male-male romance, but it's like two different male spies are trying to get one girl to fall in love with them. So one of them is playing like a good guy type and one of them is playing like a bad boy, but then they fall in love with each other and they can never be together because the boy who doesn't make the girl fall in love with him dies. So it's like a forbidden love story. It's male-male romance. It's got spies. It's got intrigue. And I just felt the same way. Nothing happened, and then all of a sudden it was like the stakes are really high, they're insta-love with each other, and it just made no sense. I ended up actually DNFing the book. That's the only book I've DNF'd so far this year. I started reading it, I put it down in like February, and we just got rid of it, so like really disappointed by that one. Another one I wanted to mention, funny enough, I've already actually talked about this author, but that is This Is Kind of an Epic Love Story by Kaysen Callender. I did not like this at all. The only thing I liked about this was the writing. This is also supposed to be a male-male romance, but the characters are all just so shitty to each other. You're supposed to believe that this is like a group of best friends and nobody was nice to each other. I don't understand how they were supposed to be best friends or how they were supposed to be read as best friends because everybody was just trash to each other. There's a lot of unresolved cheating in it. It is treated as a really big deal, but then like 2 or 3 pages later it's like it never happened again, and it's like everybody cheats on everybody else at some given point in time, and it's just never resolved and nobody ever has issue with it. They act all moody and upset, and then 2 pages later they're just over it all of a sudden, which just I don't really care for. So this I think is the lowest book that I've read this year. I think I rated this 2.5 stars on Goodreads, but I'm still excited to check out Felix. I just hope I like it more than I like this one. The number 6 is the biggest surprise of the year.
Yeah, so we actually have the same answer. And I need you guys to understand, okay?
We haven't left our apartment in 4 months.
Right, we've been in quarantine since like February. And you get real bored, and you get real desperate for some entertainment, and you start doing some strange things.
And you read Animorphs.
You read Animorphs. It happens.
No, and the thing is that they're actually good. I really was not expecting them to be good. I was expecting it to be like, you know, like, I used to see all the time when I would go to, like, the thrift store with my parents, and, like, I would make fun of the covers, because, like, have you seen the covers? Hello.
Yeah.
They just beg to be made fun of.
Right, they're awful.
And so, like, I never read them as a kid, but I always made fun of them, and then I picked the first one up, and I was like, oh, this is complex, and this is deep, and, like, really easy to read, but also kind of thought-provoking, and, like...
Right, like, I wanted like a dumb child read, and I got the trauma of war.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really upset about it, but it was really good.
Yeah, no. I've been reading them. We downloaded them to the Kindle, so I've been reading all of them, but you actually listened to the first 4.
I found audiobooks of the first 4 on YouTube by this channel that did really nice recordings for them. They did, like, soundscapes and everything, and they were really well done, and I really enjoyed them. But now we've switched over to the physical books. Or, not physical books, ebooks, but whatever. You know what I mean?
There's 54 of the original series, and then there's 10 spin-offs, and we have all of them on our Kindle.
Yep. It's fine.
We're gonna keep reading them, though.
Yep.
Because they're good.
They are.
Maybe we'll do an Animorphs video. Who knows?
Probably. David Grann. So I read both The Killers of the Flower Moon and The Lost City of Z earlier this year, and I absolutely love his writing. He investigates things so thoroughly. He, like, goes and talks to people that were involved or people that are experts on the topic. He goes physically to the places. Like, in this one, he went into the Amazon. It was just so good. It was so well done. Super good author. Absolutely adored his writing.
The author that I have to talk about is Rivers Solomon. I read The Deep during Queer Blackathon, and this book is so good. Rivers just has this way with words. It's so lyrical, and yet it punches you in the gut. It's so hard-hitting, but it's beautiful. It's like reading music. It's so good. I am so excited to read more of Rivers Solomon's work. I really want to pick up an Unkindness of Ghosts because that one sounds really intriguing, and I think that I'll love that one just as much as I loved this one. Question 8 we're actually gonna skip because that is our newest fictional crush, and neither of us really get fictional crushes. I think that's actually covered in the next question, which is our newest favorite character, which I definitely have some to talk about, but no crushes.
For my newest favorite character, I am going with Zoe from Sawkill Girls. I loved her. She's so funny. I love the way she was written. She was one of 3 point of view characters in the novel, and she was definitely my favorite. She's ace, and I really liked how that representation was done. Her romance in the book was so cute. She was just a great character, and I absolutely loved how witty she was, and how smart she was, and how much shit she got into. It was just a good time.
I'm gonna go with Simone from Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett. Simone is our main character. It's who we're following in this novel. She's so funny. She's so sassy. She knows what she wants, and she's not afraid to go get it. And her romance was so cute. I just absolutely loved this book, and I don't think I would have loved this book as much as I did if Simone was not our main character. She has these wonderful friendships with people. She's just so funny without trying that hard. I love her. I love this book, and I love Simone. Question 10 is a book that made you cry. She's not a book crier, which is why I'm making fun of her.
Yeah, I definitely do not cry very often during books, but this one, I started crying about halfway through this book, and then didn't stop, and kept crying through the end, and then cried for like an hour after. It was about 5 a.m. When I finally stopped crying and went to bed. I don't even know why I was crying. Like, the middle was sad, but the ending, it ended happy. It was fine. I was just so crushed for no apparent reason. This one got me. It got me good.
You want to know another one that got her good? That she's hiding from me? Because apparently I'm not allowed to hold it. Time War. She cried.
So did you. This is your book.
Okay, yes, it is. This is the only book that's made me cry this year, but
like a single dignified tear.
Only because you were reading it in public.
It was still dignified.
If you want an honorable mention for a book that made me cry because it was so bad,
made me cry too.
Let's talk about Pterodactyl Boyfriend for a second. Because that one was so bad.
I had a friend over. I was cooking pasta. We were having a good time. And this one brings out the book and starts reading pterodactyl sex to my friend. Have we seen her since? No.
We've been in our apartment.
Still haven't seen her. I don't think she's ever coming back.
You don't know.
Because you read weird pterodactyl sex scenes to her.
You know, sometimes it happens. Number 11. that is a book that made you happy.
So for this one, I am going with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. It was really fun. I mean, granted, it was tragic. There was a murder. Several murders, actually. And trigger warning, a pet is murdered as well, which was real sad. But other than that part, it was real fun. It was like a fun investigation kind of story. She was trying to solve a murder for like a class project. And she was working with the brother of the guy that everybody thought did it. And that was really interesting, and we got to see like how his life had been affected. It was just really good. It had a very Pretty Little Liars vibe, but like in a good way. It was just a real fun read.
I'm actually gonna go with The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I cried laughing so many times when I was listening to this audiobook. You can tell that Christina Lauren had a really good time writing it because it's just so funny. It's got so many cliche tropes just kind of thrown into it, and it seems like it should be a dumpster fire, but no, it was so funny. It's got like enemies to lovers, fake dating, except they have to be fake married. They're going on like a fake honeymoon together. Well, it's a real honeymoon, but like they're going on a honeymoon together, so if they really pretend that they're married and like super in love with each other, they get like the honeymoon suite, so there's the one bed thing. It's just so funny. Almost to the end. Number 12. This one was hard. And that's the most beautiful book that we bought this year so far.
So for this one I have two. First of all, I have The Midnight Lie. It's so pretty, and
publishers have really stepped up their game.
They really have. Can we talk about that? Do you remember when it was all just like weird faces, like half faces of white girls?
Yeah, hold on. Wait, actually, I've got an example right here.
Right. You remember when they were all like that? Like, look at what publishers are doing nowadays.
And this one's pretty because it's got like the same jar with the snakes embossed on it along with roses all over the cover. It's so pretty.
And that book I've actually already read, and it was really, really good. My second one is Emperor of Any Place, which we actually only picked up because it was pretty.
Yeah.
I don't think I even read the synopsis of it.
Yeah, no. We went to Second and Charles, and we were looking for books, and we had no idea what this was about, but we could not leave it behind.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this one. I have since read the synopsis, and it sounds really good, which I'm glad about because we just bought it. Yeah, I don't want to get rid of it. I'm hoping to read it soon.
The book that I have is a paperback that I picked up for literally like $2 and I know nothing about, but the cover's pretty. And that is The Arsonist here. So the cover's got like, it's arson, so like, here's the front cover. And then the back cover's got kind of like the opposite thing, but with water, which is really cool. And the spine actually's got like matchbook pattern on it, which is neat. I don't know anything about this, except it's a good floppy paperback, and it was $2. I'm convinced. Last question, question 13 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And the answer is all of them.
So first, I have Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zusak. I read The Book Thief years and years ago, and I absolutely loved it, and I haven't picked up any of his other work yet, so I'm really excited to get this one. We were in Second and Charles, and we found this gorgeous copy that was signed, and I wasn't gonna buy it, but she was sneaky and bought it anyway.
It was half off, and it was signed, and you love Marcus Zusak, and I wasn't about to leave it behind.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this one. And then my second one is Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton.
Which is also really pretty. Like, look at this book.
Like, publishers, you've done it. You finally arrived.
Let's not go back.
Yeah. But this one I don't know too much about. I just know that there's some queer rep and there are witches. So I was sold.
The first one that I want to talk about is one that we bought last year for Y'all Fest and had like a ton of issues with this book because it was supposed to get here like the day before and then it didn't end up actually getting there until we were already in Charleston for Y'all Fest. It was a mess. But that is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I love Mason. I follow them on Twitter and I love Mason. They're non-binary and this is non-binary and queer and like I'm really excited to read it. And the other book that I have to talk about is one that I actually kind of forgot of that I owned, which is always great. And that's Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I forgot about this until my rabbit started to eat it. I don't know if you can see that, but Astro took a big old bite out of that. So I really have wanted to read this for a couple years now. I just forgot that I bought a copy of it. So I've been like, oh, I'll just get it next time I go to the library. I own it. I'm dumb. But I'm really excited to read this. I've heard it's like a sci-fi thriller, which sounds really interesting to me. And I just know the cover's really obnoxious. And hopefully, if I like it, I won't forget I own it.
Hey,
That's everything that we have, I think.
yeah, I think so.
Alright. If you've read any of these, go on ahead. Let us know down below.
Yeah, and if you want to do this tag, you have been tagged.
Congrats, we have no friends.
Yeah.
So you're tagged now.
We weren't tagged, but here we are anyway. But if you don't want to do it in a video, you're welcome to do it down in the comments.
Yeah, or if you just want to talk about books in the comments, let us know.
Yeah,
Just drop a comment.
we love to talk about books.
Yeah, especially if you want to start some discourse about one of the books we talked about. Feel free to do so.
Yeah, so we'll leave our links to our Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads down below.
Yeah, as well as we're gonna leave a link to the Black Lives Matter card down below as well. If you would like to take some time to sign some petitions and things, the fight is still going on, so please make sure to check that out as well.
We hope to make more videos soon,
Yeah,
and we hope we see you guys again.
all right.
Bye!